Hi and thank you for joining me. In this video we are going to take a walk through the Edexcel Mathematics Paper 1 Foundation Tier exam paper from Tuesday the 19th of May 2020, looking at all the methods and the answers. So let's start with question 1. It says write the following numbers in order of size starting with the smallest. I always recommend that if you're going to do this and you're not sure of the answer, then write them in a column. So we have 0.32, 0.4, 0.35 and 0.309. Let's have a look at this then. If we look at the first column, they're all zeros, so we can't establish anything from there. The trick is to go to the next column. So we have a 3, a 4, a 3, a 3. Well, that actually gives us the biggest number because the 4 is bigger than the 3's. So that is actually going to be the last number in your answer, 0.4. We now have 0.3, 3 and 3. So we move to the next column. And in the next column, we have 0, 5 and 2. The 0 is the smallest, therefore that must be the smallest number in our sequence. Looking at the last two remaining, we have a 2 and a 5. The 2 is the smallest, so the second number is the 0.32 and then 0.35. So those are our numbers in order. Question 2. Here is a list of numbers. From the list, write down a multiple of 3. So we are looking for a number that divides exactly by 3. Maybe a quick way of doing this is to simply write down the 3 times table. 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. There we go. There's an answer. That divides by 3. No need to take it any further. We have a solution. Question 3. Write 4.666 correct to the nearest whole number. So if we're looking for the nearest whole number, well, 4.666 is in between 5 and 4. We need to decide, are we going to round up to 5 or round down to 4? And the clue is in the next digit. The next digit is 6. That means the next digit is a 5 or above. If we use that rule, it means this is closer to the number 5. Moving on to question 4, write 3/4 as a decimal. This is hopefully one of the ones that you might already know automatically and you can simply write down the answer. But if you're not sure, then to change a fraction into a decimal, it is the top number divided by the bottom. So let's do this using long division. How many 4's in 3? There are none. Therefore, we need to put in the decimal point and create a 0. We are now looking at how many 4's there are in 30. Well, the answer is 7. And of course, 7 4's are 28. If we subtract that, we're left with a remainder of 2. Add another nought onto the answer and bring that down to the bottom here. How many 4's are there in 20? There are 5 4's in 20, and that is exactly 20. If we take that away, we have no remainder, so our answer is 0.75. Question number 5 is asking us to write down the value of the 7 in the number 8765. Well, if you internally say that number out loud to yourself, this number is 8,765. And therein lies your answer, 700. The other way, of course, is to look at the names of the columns. The first column is your units or your ones. The second column is your tens. The third column is hundreds and then thousands. So the 7 is in the hundreds column. 700. Question 6 comes in 2 parts, so we'll do them together. Gita spins a fair 8-sided spinner, and we are asked, on the probability scale, which we're given below here, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner will land on C. Well, we're looking at probability, which is the chances of something happening. So let's have a look at this spinner. It has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So it could land on any of the 8 sides. So a probability is going to be out of 8. We are looking for the probability it will land on C. How many C's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of the 8 ways it could land, 4 of them would result in a C. So as a fraction, it is 4/8. If we simplify the fraction of 4/8, we get to 1/2. So our cross is going to be exactly on a half. Part B is saying, what is the probability the spinner will land on D? There are no D's. There is absolutely no chance it can land on a D. Therefore, the probability is 0. Question 7. The incomplete pictogram shows information about the number of eggs sold from a farm shop on a Monday. So here we have a pictogram. We have some symbols representing the number of eggs sold on a Monday and a key, which has nothing in it at the moment. So we're asked to use the information to complete the pictogram and the key. So what do we know? We know on Monday there were 18 eggs sold. Therefore, these symbols here represent the 18 eggs. I think the simplest way is to simply count the number of quarters that we've got here. In this case, there are 6 quarters. So in other words, 18 eggs is being represented by these 6 parts, these 6 quarters. So if I take the 18 eggs and I divide them by the 6 quarters, that tells me that each quarter represents 3 eggs. So here we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 eggs. We now know that 1 quarter is equal to 3. This actually means, and you could put this in the key, I guess, that if you have a whole circle here with the 4 quarters, that would be 12 eggs. So now we need to fill in the rest of the pictogram using the key that we've got. So on Tuesday there were 24 eggs. Well, that's quite straightforward, because if one of these symbols is 12, then 2 of these symbols is going to be 24. On Wednesday was 27 eggs. Well, we can quite quickly fill in the first 24 eggs, because that's the same as Tuesday. That's 24. We need another 3 eggs. We know from our key that 1 quarter would represent 3, so that is 12. 24 plus 3 is 27, and that's our answer. Question 8 has 3 parts, all concerning coordinates on a graph. First of all, we have to write down the coordinates of point A. Don't forget, a coordinate is x and then y. So for this one, on the x it is 2, and up the y-axis it is 3. So our coordinates are 2, 3. Coordinates of point B, we do exactly the same. On the x-axis, this point is at 0, and on the y-axis, it's down here at -1. So that's 0, -1. And for part C, it says mark with a cross the point -2, 1. So again, same rules. The x-coordinate is on the x-axis, -2 is just here, and then we need to go up 1 for the y-coordinate, and we land just there. Question 9, we have a ratio question. So a bag is containing counters. We have red and blue only. We know that the number of counters as a ratio, red to blue, is 3 to 4. It says write down the fraction of the counters that are red. Well, for a situation like this, we have 3 red for every 4 blue. So when we are looking at the parts in this ratio, the total number of parts is 7. Now that 7 is the bottom part of the fraction. Out of that 7 parts, how many of them are red? Well, red is on the left-hand side of the ratio, therefore it is 3. 3 out of 7 as a fraction, 3/7. Question B asks us to write the ratio 12 to 30 in the form 1 to n. So we are simplifying this, but we are taking it right down to 1 to n. Let's have a look at this. We're starting with 12 to 30. We need to take the left-hand side down to 1. So in order to do that, we would divide it by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. With a ratio, whatever you do with one side, we have to do the other. So it would be 30 divided by 12. We don't have a calculator, so we have to do this manually. So it's how many 12s are there in 30? Well, the answer is 2. 2 12s are 24. If we take that away, we get 6. We are now looking at decimal points. Add a 0 onto the end. Bring it down. How many 12s are there in 60? There are 5 12s, and 5 12s is exactly 60, no remainder, so our answer is 2.5. So as a form 1 to n, 1 to 2.5 is our answer. Let's take a look at question 10, and it says Jenny has 12 marbles. Right, we're given quite a bit of information here. A quarter of the marbles are large, the rest of them are small. Each large marble has a weight of 70 grams, each small marble has a weight of 50 grams, and we're asked to work out the total weight. So first of all, let's look at how many marbles she's got. She's got 12. A quarter of them are large, so 12 divided by 4 equals 3 large. The rest of them are small, so 12 minus 3 must mean there are 9 small marbles. So what do we have to do? Well, each large marble, that's 3 of them, weighs 70 grams, so that's 3 times 70 is 210. The other 9 small marbles weigh 50, so that's 9 times 50 is 450. We need to add them all together for the total weight, so it's going to be 660 grams. Question 11 is giving us a shape on graph paper. We have a mirror line down the centre, and we're asked to reflect the shaded shape. In other words, we have to imagine that if we are looking in a mirror, what would it look like on the other side? And I would tend to do this personally by counting. So if I look at this point on the shape here, it is 2 squares from the line. Therefore, I'm going to go in the opposite direction, 2 squares. That corner is going to be there. If we work around the shape, we then go from that corner to the next corner. That's going to the right. In a reflection, it's going to go to the left. If we're looking in a mirror, then a downward movement would be down here. Then we're going again 1 right, which means on the reflection 1 left. If we go right up to the top point here, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away in the other direction. That has got the 5 corners all filled in there. All it remains to do is to join in the dots with nice, neat, straight lines, which I'm not achieving there. Let's put 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. It is important you use a ruler and make it as tidy as you can. And there is your reflection. Question 12 is all about a number machine. So with a number machine, the rule is simple. You do exactly what the machine tells you. So we have an input, we have a box which tells us to multiply by 2, then another box which tells us to subtract 3, and that gives us the output. So we do exactly that. When we have an input of 7, that means we do 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Go to the next box. 14 minus 3 equals 11. That is our answer. So part 1 is 11. Let me remove those numbers. Let's look at part 2. We are now being told to find the input when the output is 41. In other words, we're given the answer and we have to go in the opposite direction. And the simple rule is when we go in the opposite direction, we do the opposite function in each box. So minus 3 is going to become plus 3. Times 2 is going to become divided by 2. We do the opposite. So 41 plus 3 gives us 44. We are carrying on in this direction. It's now 44 divided by 2. The input is therefore 22. Question 13. We have a diagram showing 2 points. We've got A and B on a map. We have a scale. So we're told the scale is 1 to 25,000. The first question is to find the bearing of B from A. So the word from means we are measuring from A. I personally would start this by drawing a line from A through B so that we can clearly see the angle that needs to be measured. We then need a protractor. If we put that on the point as accurately as we can on the centre here and measure around the scale, we can see that the angle is 25 degrees. Don't forget, when you are using a bearing, it should be a 3-digit number, so it's 025 degrees. Now part B is asking us to work out the real distance between A and B, and we're giving our answer in kilometres. Now obviously you need to take a ruler and measure from A to B. I can't show you this because my screen is in a different scale to your exam paper, but if you do have access to the exam paper, in fact this distance here is actually 5 centimetres. So if we use the scale here, it says 1 equals 25,000. So we need to multiply that by 25,000. Our answer is going to be 125,000. Now that is our answer in centimetres. We need to convert to kilometres. Now if you know that a centimetre to a kilometre, the conversion is 100,000, then simply divide this by 100,000. If you're not sure, take it in steps. The first thing we would do is convert from centimetres to metres. And we know there are 100 centimetres in a metre, so if we take the 125,000 and we divide by 100, that will give us 1250. That's now given us our answer in metres. And to go from metres to kilometres, well, there are 1,000 metres in a kilometre, so we need to divide again by 1,000, and that gives us the answer 1.25, and that is the answer in kilometres for part B. Question 14. Ishmael asks 30 students at college to tell him the sport they like the best, from cricket or tennis or swimming. So we've got a two-way table. We're being asked to complete it, and it simply means we have to pick out the information that we are given and use it to complete the table. So let's make a start. The first thing we are told is that 11 of the 20 female students said swimming. So we know there are 20 female students. That's already completed for us. 11 of them said they preferred swimming best. So we can put 11 against swimming on the female line. 2 of the male students said tennis. So along the male students line, we can put 2 on tennis. 5 of the students said cricket. So of all the students, this is the total of the 30 students, 5 of them said cricket. It's not telling us at this point whether those 5 were male or female. Now we have some more information. The number of male students who said cricket was the same as the number of male students who said swimming. Complete the two-way table. Okay, let's look at the information that we've got. We need to take the information that's in the table and identify where we can complete extra boxes. So the first thing that stands out is that at the end here, under the totals, we know there are 30 students altogether, but we also know that 20 of them are female. Therefore, the other 10 must be male. So we have 10 male students. Now we have some more information about male students. It says the number of male students who said cricket is the same as the number of male students who said swimming. So these two numbers here are the same. Now we've got 10 students. 2 of them like tennis. So if we take away that 2, we have 8 more males. We know that the swimming and the cricket therefore have to add up to 8. And we also know that they are the same number like swimming as cricket. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So cricket is 4 and swimming is 4. We've now completed the row of male students. We know the preferences of all 10. Let's look at the swimming column. We have 4 males, 11 females, in total 15. Let's have a look at the cricket. We have 4 males out of a total of 5, therefore just the 1 female. Let's now look along the female students. 20 altogether, minus the 11 who like swimming leaves us 9. Take away the 1 that likes cricket leaves us 8, so the other 8 must like tennis. It's now simply a matter of adding the 2 and the 8 for the male and females who prefer tennis, and that gives us 10 students. A nice little check is to add now the total of students. We have 5 plus 10 is 15, plus 15 equals 30, so everything adds up vertically and horizontally. Question 15 is all about proportion. So Jamil is making a drink by mixing 1 part of orange squash with 9 parts of water. I always like to start a question like this by writing down the ratio of orange to water. It is 1 to 9. He uses 750 millilitres of orange squash. So into this ratio I can put 750 on the orange squash side. There are 2 ways of looking at this, and in fact I'm going to write this down twice just to look at the 2 ways you could calculate this. First of all, you can do it vertically. If we look at what's happened on the left hand side of the ratio here, we've gone from 1 to 750. So we have multiplied this side by 750. Therefore, we have to multiply the other side by 750. So 9 times 750 is 6750, and that is millilitres. On this side, however, you can look at it a different way. If we look at it across horizontally, we're saying that water is 9 times the orange squash. So actually, we can do 750 times 9, and we get the same answer, 6750. Now, we haven't quite finished there, because we have to work out exactly how much drink that Jamil has made. So into the actual jug or whatever he's using, he now has 750 millilitres of orange squash, and he has 6,750 millilitres of water. We need to add those together, and if we do that, we get 7,500 millilitres. Okay, we're going to put the drink into 1 litre bottles. Let's convert this into litres then, simply by dividing by 1,000. So 7,500 divided by 1,000. Move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 places. We end up with 7.5 litres. The question is not how much though, it's how many 1 litre bottles can we completely fill. Well, we can completely fill 7 bottles. The other half litre will not completely fill a bottle, so 7 is our answer. Question 16, we've got parts A and B. Let's have a look at them both together. So the table gives information about the number of points scored by each of 16 students in a game. So if you look at the table, it means that the The number of points scored once was no points, 3 times was 1 point, and so on down the table. Now, it says that Tina has worked out the median number of points scored is 5. And we're simply asked to explain why that's not possible. Well, you can simply say the median cannot be 5 because the number of points scored only goes up to 4. Therefore, it's not possible for the median to be 5. That is a perfectly good answer. So let's move immediately on to part B. Tina also worked out the total number of points scored by the 16 students. Here's her working. So, 1 student scored no points, 3 students scored 1 point, 2 students scored 5 points, and so on along the table. She's then multiplied them all out and got the answers 1, 3, 10, 12. 12 is 38. It says she's made a mistake in her working and described the mistake that Tina made. Have a little look at this carefully. Work out each of these brackets. This is indeed 12. That is 12. That is 10. That is 3. But this one here, she has come to a total of 1. And of course, 0 times 1 is actually equal to 0. So that should be a 0 in there. So the total should be 37. 3, 2, 1. In question 17, it looks as though we have fractions and percentages. So, in a shop, a TV has a normal price of £500 and the shop has a sale. So on Monday, the normal price of the TV is reduced by 1/10 to give the sale price. On Tuesday, the sale price of the TV is reduced by 20%. Chris wants to buy the TV and he's got £400 to spend. Can he afford the TV on the Tuesday? One step at a time then. We are starting out with £500 as the price. It's been reduced by 1/10, so we need to find 1/10. And to do that, we simply divide by 10. So 500 divided by 10 is 50. That, don't forget, is the reduction. To find the sale price, we have to take the 500 and take away the 50, which gives us a sale price of £450. That has all happened on the Monday. On the Tuesday, we are then told that we need to take 20% off the sale price of £450. There are a number of ways that you can go about this. One, to find 20%, all you need to do is divide by 5. You could, if you like, divide by 100 to find 1% and then multiply by 20 to give you 20%, or you could simply multiply by 0.20. Any of these methods will give you the same result. So let's divide it by 5. 450 divided by 5. 5's into 45, 9. So the answer is 90. So we are taking £90 away from the sales price. So today, Tuesday, it's 450 minus 90, which gives us a price of £360. Chris has 400. Can he afford the television? Yes, it's only 360. Question 18 is asking us to work out an estimate for 790 times 289 divided by 49. Estimate is the key word here because it means we are allowed to round each of the numbers. So 790, if you're going to round it to the nearest 100, that would be 800. Now 289, you could round it to the nearest 10 and get 290. That would be an acceptable answer. But if you're going to make things really easy for yourself, go to the nearest 100, 300. And then 49, probably the best way to do that for the more accurate answer is simply to round it to 50. Now, we've then got these to work out. Well, 8 times 3 is 24, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 noughts, so 1, 2, 3, 4 noughts, and then we divide that by 50. We could start by cancelling down the zeros, so what we actually have is 24,000 divided by 5. Let's have a look at that. 5s into 24 are 4, 5 4s are 20, subtract that away, we get 4, bring down the 0, 5s into 40 are 8, 5s into 0, 5s into 0, so our answer is 4,800. Question 19 is giving us 3 parts. So 19a is to expand, and we're expanding a single bracket here. That simply means that we have to take the x outside the bracket and multiply by everything in the bracket. So first of all, we have x times x, that becomes x squared, and then we have x times minus 4. It's a plus times a minus, so the answer is minus, and x times 4 is 4x. Part B, we are factorising, so effectively doing the opposite process. We need to look for the highest factor in each of the parts of each of the terms. So let's have a look at the numbers. We have 15 and we have 10. The highest common factor of 15 and 10 is 5. If we look at the letters, the terms do not have any letters in common, so we can open the bracket. We then put inside the bracket anything that we need to be able to multiply back to our original term here. So we have 5, we need to be able to multiply up to 15y. How do we get from 5 to 15? We would multiply it by 3, and then the y is simply there. So check, 5 times 3y is 15y. We then have a minus because we want a minus term. How do we get from 5 to 10? We multiply it by 2. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. So that's our answer. Question C, solve. 7 open brackets f minus 5 equals 28. 2 stages to this one, because first of all we need to expand these brackets, and the process is exactly the same as it was in A. So we have 7 times f, which is 7f. Again, we have a plus times a minus, so it's a minus, and 7 times 5 is 35, and we know that that all equals 28. I'm going to add 35 to both sides, so I end up with 7f equals 28 plus 35. So 7f equals 28 plus 35 is 63. Rearrange that, f equals 63 divided by 7, so f equals 9. In this question we are given an arithmetic sequence and we're asked to write down an expression in terms of n. So first of all there's going to be an n. 2 steps to this. First of all we have to look at the sequence and look at the pattern. In this case the numbers are going up in even steps, it's a linear sequence, and the gap between each term is 3. So quite simply the first part of the expression is 3n. We then have to consider that the number 1 is the first term and number 4 is the second term, and so along here. The job that we have to do is decide what number would be the 0 term. In other words, we have to take the sequence 1 step back from the beginning. If we do that, it means we have to take 3 away and we end up at minus 2, and that forms the second part of the expression, 3n minus 2. Question 21, we're back to fractions. We are asked to show that 2 1/3 multiplied by 3 3/4 is equal to 8 3/4. I think the first thing we need to do in order to be able to multiply these more easily is turn them into improper fractions. How do we do that? Well, the first step is to multiply these two numbers here. 2 times 3 is 6, and then add the top number on. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 is 7, and that is 7/3. We haven't changed the denominator. We're going to multiply that. Let's do the same for the second fraction. It's 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 3 on top there is 15, and that is 15/4. We're now in a position to multiply these together. It is simply 7 times 15, so that is 105, and on the bottom it's 3 times 4, which is 12. A good thing to do now would be to simplify our answer. So if we simplify this down, we'll find that both the top and the bottom will divide by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 105 divided by 3 is 35. Now, that's not quite the answer here. There are a couple of things we could do here. We could convert the answer to the original question into an improper fraction. If we do that, we get 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 is equal to 35/4. That would give us the answer. Or we can convert our own answer back into a mixed number. If we take 35 and we divide it by 4, we find that we get 8 with 3 remaining. 8 fours are 32, 3 remaining, which is 8 3/4. So we've proved it that way. Question 22. We have 4 graphs, we have a table at the bottom which gives the equation of 4 graphs, and we have to match one of the graphs to the box below. Now, this isn't something I can give you a rule for or give you a method, because unfortunately this is one of those situations where you simply have to remember what these graphs look like. All I can do really here is give you the answer in the hope that maybe it will help you to learn them. And in fact, y equals minus 3 cubed is B, y equals 3 cubed is C, y equals x squared is the graph at D, and y equals 1/x is A. This question really is something you've either memorized or you haven't. In question 23, we've 4 triangles, and we're told that 2 of them are congruent. In other words, they're the same, but maybe just turned a different way around. Let's have a look at them and see if we can find similarities and differences. Well, if we look at triangle A, we've got 45 in one corner, 55 in the other. That adds up to exactly 100 degrees. Now, we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180, so that means the third angle is 80 degrees. So, examining this one a little more closely, the 2 angles 55 and 45, they share a side which is 10 centimeters, and the angle opposite that side is 80. Now, looking at triangle B, we have a 45 degrees, we have 8 and 10 centimeters. We don't actually know the angles of the other 2 corners here. What we do know is that the 10 centimeter is opposite the 45. That is not the situation in A, so those 2 are certainly not congruent. Triangle B, again we have 55. The 10 centimeter this time is opposite the 55 degree. So again, these 3 triangles are all different. The 10 centimeter side is opposite a different angle. Now, triangle D, again we are given 2 of the corners, 45, 80 and 55, to add up to 180. Therefore we have a 45 and a 55 that are sharing a 10 centimeter side, and opposite the 10 centimeter is the 80. If we look at A and D, we can now see that if I were to rotate triangle D so that it was in the same alignment as triangle A, they would look exactly the same. So the congruent triangles are A and D. Question 24. Sean pays £10 for 20 chocolate bars. He then sells all the bars for 50p each, and we're asked to work out his percentage profit. Well, first of all, if he is selling 24 bars and they are 50 pence each. That's 24 times 0.50. That equals £12. So he sold them for £12. 12 minus 10 means his profit is £2 in total. We need to work that out as a percentage. So to work the percentage, we take the difference between the sale and the purchase price, so that's £2. We divide that by the original price, which is £10, and then we multiply by 100 to find the percentage. 2 divided by 10 is 0.2 times 100, and 0.2 times 100 means we move the decimal place 2 points to the right, which gives us 20. So the percentage profit is 20%. Question 25. ADC is a triangle. The lines AED and ABC, the two sides here, are straight lines, and EB and DC are parallel. We have a couple of angles given to us already, and we're asked to work out the size of EAB, in other words, the angle at the very top here. There are probably a couple of different ways you can approach this, but the one that I can see which seems to be the most straightforward is to identify the other two angles in the triangle here so that we can find the top one. Now this angle here, which is AEB, so let me write that down, AEB is found because it's 63 degrees, and we know that because corresponding angles, which is what these two angles are equal, and that is what you would write. It takes some writing out because you need to put the rules in here, because corresponding angles are equal. Quote the rule and everything is fine. So we have 63 degrees here. Now let's have a look at this angle here. This is EBA. Now this, well, we're going to use the rule because, and again it's worth writing this out, angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees. So it's 180 minus 48, therefore this angle is 32 degrees. We then know that angles in a triangle equal 180, therefore 180 minus the total of these two, which are 95, means that angle EAB equals 85 degrees. Question 26. The table shows information about the heights in centimetres of a group of Year 9 girls. So we have the shortest, the tallest and the median height. This stem and leaf diagram shows information about the heights in centimetres of a group of 15 Year 9 boys. Therefore, we have similar information but laid out in a different way, and we are asked to compare the distribution. Well, the two sets of information we can glean from these tables is the median, we can check that out for the boys and the girls, and also the range from the smallest to the highest. So let's have a look at this. The least height for the girls is 150 and the greatest is 170. So 170 minus 150 means the range of heights for the girls is 20 centimetres. So this you can write down here. The range of height for the girls is 20 centimetres. Now the range for the boys, it's a stem and leaf diagram. We have a key here explaining how it works. So 15/8 represents 158. So the shortest of the boys is 158, whereas the tallest is 182. So we have the same information. So 182 minus 158 gives us 24 centimetres. So in your own words, you can describe the range of heights, saying that the girls is only 20 centimetres and the boys is 24. Now let's have a look at median. We're given the median of the girls. The median is 165. So that's the girls. Median is 165 centimetres. Now the boys, we are told there are 15 of them. And indeed, if we count the numbers here, there are 15. They are also in order. 158, 159 and so on. So if there are 15 of them, if you were to write all their heights out in a line in order, the median one would be the middle one. It would be the 8th boy. So we can do this by counting down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here is the median for the boys. It's 168 centimetres. So our comparisons are the boys have a wider range of heights and a higher median. Question 27. The diagram shows a prism placed on a horizontal floor. The prism has a height of 3 meters. We have a volume of 18 cubic meters. The pressure on the floor is 75 newtons per meter squared. Work out the force exerted by the prism. A little bit of work to do here. First of all, we need to work out the force. Now let's have a look at the formula that we've been given here. We've been told that pressure equals the force divided by the area. We need to rearrange that so that the pressure times the area equals the force. If you're not too sure how to rearrange that, remember we have the triangles, and originally we are told that pressure is force over area. If we are looking for force, it's pressure times area. So by using the triangle, you can come up with this, or simply rearrange the formula as it's given. Now, if that's the case, if the force, which is what we are looking for, is pressure times area, we need the two values. We know the pressure. The pressure is 75 newtons per square meter. We need the area of the base of the prism. Now, to do this, we need to look at another formula and kind of run it backwards. Because if we were to work out the volume of a prism, the volume is worked out by looking at the front area and multiplying it by the height. Now, what properties do we have here? We have the volume and we have the height. So again, if we rearrange this, we end up with volume divided by the height equals area. We've simply switched the h to the other side, so it becomes a divide. We can now do that calculation. The volume is 18, the height is 3, therefore 18 divided by 3 is 6 meters squared. Now we have the area, we can go back up to our original formula. Pressure times area, 75 times 6. And 75 times 6 is 450. Looking at units, well, it's already given in the answer as it happens, but it is given to us in the newtons per meter squared, so the answer is 450 newtons. Question 28, all about standard form, and we have to write these numbers in order of size. A couple of ways you could do this. You can convert them all to standard form, or you can do the opposite and change them into real numbers. Not sure which is the easiest. Let's have a look at changing them into real numbers. So the first one is 6.72. Now we multiply that by 10 to the 5. It means we are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and fill in the zeros here. So this number becomes 6720. naught, naught. The second one is 67.2 times 10 to the minus 4, which means we're going to move the decimal point 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and fill in the zeros. So we end up with 0.00672. The third one is 672 times 10 to the 4. So 672, decimal point starts here. 10 to the 4 means 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So we're going to add in 4 noughts. So we get 6720000. And the last one is already done for us. It's 0.000672. If we look at these answers then, we are looking for the smallest number first. Well, the small numbers of course are the second one here and the last one. Now this one starts right down in the 10,000s. It's got 3 zeros before the numbers start. So this is the smallest number, so that you would list 1. The second smallest is then of course 0.00672, which was our second one in the list, so that comes second. We then have 672 with 3 noughts. That becomes the third one in our list. It was the top one, so that is 3. And then we have 672 with 4 noughts. Therefore, that is the biggest number. So that is the numbers in the correct order: 1, 2, 3, 4. 29. Given that a over b is 2 over 5 and b over c is 3 over quarter, find the ratio a to b to c. Well, the fractions here, a over b, 2 over 5, we can just rewrite those as ratios, because it therefore means that ratio of a to b is 2 to 5 and the ratio of b to c is 3 to 4. The problem we have here is that we have 2 different values of b. If b was the same value in both, we'd be able to line up the ratios, and that makes the question all about the multiples of b. I want to make these b's the same. 1 is 5, 1 is 3. Therefore, I am looking for a common multiple. The obvious one that springs to mind is that they would both multiply up to 15. Now, how have I done that? Well, on this side, I've multiplied by 3 to get to 15. So using the rules of ratio, I have to multiply here by 3. Therefore, I'm going to get 6. So 6/15 is an equivalent ratio to 2/5. If I look at the second ratio, I've actually multiplied this 5 times. Therefore, I'm going to multiply the other side 5 times. That gives me a value of c of 20. So what this is saying is when a is 6, b is 15, but it's now also telling us that when b is 15, c is 20. So given that b is the same in both cases, that gives us the ratio of a to b to c of 6 to 15 to 20. And that's our solution. And finally, question 30. We have 2 parts. First of all, we are making q the subject of p equals 6q plus 7. Now, there are a couple of different ways of explaining this. The way I like to do it is by moving terms around within the equation. Now, to do that, we have to change their polarity. I'll explain what I mean. First of all, I'm actually using BIDMAS in reverse order. It is the principle of rearranging formula. So if I look at this, I've got the p. Now on the other side, it's 6q plus 7. I am going to move the 7 first, because by using BIDMAS backwards, it would tell me to do so. I'm going to move the 7 to the other side of the equation. Now when you move something, it changes. A plus becomes a minus. So I now have p minus 7 equals 6q. Why have I moved the 7? Because I want to try and get the q on its own, make it the subject. So the next thing I have to do is move the 6. So on this side I have p minus 7. At the moment the 6 is a multiplier of q. If I move the 6 to the other side of the equation, it becomes a divide. P minus 7 equals q. If you want to write it the other way around, q equals p minus 7 over 6. That is the answer. To do it the other way, p equals 6q plus 7, what you will see in some books is they tell you to subtract 7 from both sides. So on this side I am taking away 7. On this side I have 6q plus 7 minus 7. Therefore the two 7's are going to cancel each other out. Now we have p minus 7 equals 6q. It's the 6 I want to get rid of, so we divide both sides by 6. On the first row I minused by 7. Therefore we get p minus 7 divided by 6, and on this side we get 6q divided by 6. Therefore we can cancel out the two 6's, so we end up with p minus 7 divided by 6 equals q. They are just two slightly different methods of achieving exactly the same answer. And 30b, simplify m to the power minus 2 in brackets with a minus 3 on the outside. When we are working out powers where one is inside a bracket and one is outside, we multiply the two powers together. Be careful, they are both minuses. A minus times a minus is a plus. 3 times 2 is 6. The answer is m to the power 6. And that's the end of this paper. I do hope you found it useful. Please hit the subscribe button on my channel and look at some of my other videos. And most important of all, very good luck with your studies. Thank you.